Welcome everybody to 5 Minutes with Bryan. Today's 5 Minutes with Bryan actually centers around this concept of minor failures. We always think about the big failures, the things that go wrong. We think about the things that we wish we would have done that we can't possibly change. I say this because this whole week has been a giant disaster in terms of being a podcaster and a writer. Really haven't got much writing done. That's pretty bad on me. And I'm a day behind in my podcasting work right now. I just got some of it caught back up again, but man, oh man, what do you do when you have these small failures? What do you do when these things go wrong? Well, I mean, kind of the stock answer is pull yourself up by the bootstraps and try and go again. I think a lot of times what it is I let other things get in the way. I I am human. Sometimes I get lazy. Sometimes I get forgetful. Sometimes I decide I just don't want to do things. Sometimes I decide I really want to spend the afternoon sitting in the other room playing Dune on the Xbox. Those are things that happen. Those are things that real human beings do. Sometimes writers decide that they want to spend the entire afternoon outside gardening. Well, it's okay. It's okay. I want to give you permission to let that be, you know? If I had like a bunch of Tibetan singing bowls right now, we could play them together and just center our cheese and say it's okay. Forgive yourself. These things happen. So what happens if you don't write for your designated hour in a day? Or what happens if you don't meet your 2,000 word mark? Well, if you're a traditional published author, you could be a little bit behind in what you produce and hand over to your publisher or editor or agent. But if you're an indie, it just means you lost a day. Not a big deal. Just get back on the horse and ride again. Don't try to force it the next day, by the way. Every time you try and force things like that, it's a disaster. Uh, because you're trying to force creativity. You can't really force creativity. That's just the thing, You sometimes, I love the idea that we all have these different muses, and some muses are like these sleek fairy-like creatures that sprinkle dust on you, and some are like big ogres that drag you along the street screaming when you really don't want to be going that direction, but they're like, no, you're going this direction. Um, Mine gets fat and lazy and sits around the house and says, nah, I'm not feeling it today. It's okay if things happen. These things happen. I call them little failures. They're little tiny things that didn't go quite the way I expected. But don't beat yourself up on it. It's actually possible to sit there and beat yourself up to the point where you're like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so frustrated. I'm going to give up and buy a bowling ball. Forget this writer thing. It's a lot of work. Well, yes, it is a lot of work. But um, don't let those little tiny things that went wrong in your writing life distract you. So you don't have magic flowing out of your fingertips where every word is beautiful and meaningful and perfect and awesome in every way. So what? Um, I wrote him. What did I wrote the other day? I wrote. I think the sentence was essentially the most essential thing is. I went what? No, that's not a sentence. What is wrong with me? So don't don't beat yourself up. I mean, jump on that horse again and do whatever you got to do. Make it happen, Captain. That's all I have to say. So this has been another 5 Minutes with Bryan. I hope you guys are enjoying these short videos. I'm enjoying doing them. They kind of let me spout off about whatever I'm thinking about at the time, and that's kind of what I was thinking about today because I've had a rough week. I'm sort of like a giraffe that has just been born, and I'm kind of like flailing around with my legs, and I haven't quite gotten them under me yet. That's kind of what I've been this week. So anyway, again, 5 Minutes with Bryan. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later on in the week. Bye bye.